It used to be one of my. Yes, it used to be. Oh my God, it's right there. I remember the scene wherever they have all the sodas and they're taking out. I'm sorry, that was just something I remember very vividly as a kid. And I remember it was so cool because it had bad words.
I'm glad you had a good upbringing.
Well, it's because y'all would watch it and you would fall asleep and I wasn't able to watch R-rated movies.
You watch it.
Well, yeah, so it was so cool for me. Question: is there a way to mute it just in case? Because I don't want to be drinking water.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't overthink it. I don't want you thinking about your mic. Drink your water. Enjoy it.
Can you put yours on the other side? No, your actual mic. Almost on the inside. So it's not rubbing your shirt, basically.
Yeah, sure. What I always learned is you run the cord up behind it and you pinch the cord, that way it stays up.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
I know. I'm pretty sure they've been listening for the past
Oh, really? Cool.
2 minutes. So,
I know,
what's up, guys? Happy to be here today. Today is Friday the 13th. Merry Christmas. Tonight is our Christmas party. Friday the 13th theme. Nightmare Before Christmas. Doors open at 5 o'clock. If you're in Dallas area, come on out. I have an amazing guest with me here today, and I'm so happy. I've been trying to line this up for a couple of years now. No cap. A good investor that I know, David here. We're going to get into their story. I have Odin, his son, who is a huge investor now. As young as he is, 18 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
18
years now. He is actually buying, selling, repairing properties. He's underwriting. He's doing everything. We're going to get into all that today. So tune in. If anybody has any questions, comments they want to know about today, drop them in the comments and let us hear you. David, Odin, thank you so much for coming here today. I suck at intros, by the way, so I just ramble for a minute.
Good, a lot of energy.
Yeah,
love it.
So first off, I want to just preface, right? So let's give the foundation for the story. David, can you give me a little quick overview of your history and your story?
Sure. So I wanted to learn about real estate because I was in multiple businesses. I made a lot of money. I saved up to $500,000. I was blessed in life, and I invested in the stock market. Between the year of 2008 and 2009, when I finally decided to go to real estate, listen to my financial advisor, I was able to turn that $500,000 into $70,000. So here I start with $70,000. I want to learn about real estate. I heard a radio show, kind of like your podcast, from Lifestyles Unlimited, retire in 5 years or less. I go, yeah, if you got money, but I only have $70,000. At the time, I was a stay-at-home dad. My wife was a captain in the Air Force. I'm ex-military, my wife's ex-military. Very military, conservative family, right? So here I'm with $70,000, Dave Ramsey fan, don't believe in credit card debt. I know nothing about real estate. I go into a seminar, I listen to a guy named Del Walmsley. He gives me the map, how to retire in 5 years or less. I turn that $70,000, fast forward today, I'm now worth over $14 million. That's a nutshell.
How many doors, because I know investors like to count doors.
I don't go by doors because I think that's a Bouillon Cube's number.
I love that answer.
Because
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to be real with people listening out there.
There's
you
no
always
value
hear
to it.
somebody goes, I put $25,000 in an apartment, I own 500 doors. No, you don't. You own 500 toilet seats. You don't own the whole thing. I own over 20 different apartment communities, just me and my family. So there's a big difference between that and the other people that do what? They own 1% of something. So that's why I don't go by doors. And I own a bunch of small properties. I love small properties. I don't care if it's a 200 unit, a 50 unit, or a 20 unit. It's what's in it for me. What's my rate of return? That's what should matter to people. You understand? So you have these big syndicators with 10,000 doors, but they really don't own that. So I actually own 20 plus apartment communities throughout the state of Texas.
What year did you put your foot into real estate then?
So I started in April 2009,
Okay.
like I said. And when I started, it was because the stock market dove down to 6,700. That's when your 401k turned into 10K. I lost everything in the stock market. I had a 70K. I started with one little house. I go, if this house is real, then the apartments will be real. So the first house I bought, I used it with hard money, which most people out there probably know that, watching your podcast. And I went into conventional. It was $3,000 out of pocket. I made $29,000. That was 967% return. I was hooked. I'm like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I said, well, if that's real, the apartments they told me about are real. And I did the craziest thing. I only had 70 grand to work with. I'm going, how am I going to buy an apartment? But I was a Dave Ramsey person. I owned my house free and clear. So I took a loan because we're veterans. I could have took a 100% loan, but I'm T-Rex, so I'm very conservative. I took an 80% loan to value against my personal residence. I put out $232,000 plus my 70 grand and another partner. He put up 90 grand. Together, we bought a 29-unit apartment community. That one there, we bought for, I think it was like $275,000 I bought it for. After we fixed it up, it was worth $1.7 million. That launched me right there.
Was that in a Metroplex, or was that more
That
of a...
was actually in the Houston area.
Okay.
So a little 29 unit. That was my first one I bought.
Awesome. How, so 2009 you said?
Yep.
How old were you now at that time?
3 years old.
3 years old.
This has been my entire life.
Yeah, there's pictures of him painting at the property.
So I think I have one of them from one of the bus tours that you had. He was sitting on the garbage. How?
Which, just so you know, that picture, I got screamed at by his mother because she said there's bed bugs. You can't sit them. I'm like,
Bed bugs are the least of the worry. I would worry about a syringe or something in
Yeah.
our line of work, right?
That's been the fun
So
of it.
what? All right. So what? Moving over to you now. What sparked your interest in real estate, and at what age would that be? If
course.
it's 2 years old, what
So
year?
no, my parents joined Lifestyles 2009. I've been around this my whole entire life. You know, it wasn't an immediate calling to me, right? And over time, my parents have been drilling, you know, in the way they've raised me. Very conservative. I'm only allowed one gift on Christmas, one gift for my birthday. You know, they don't believe in an allowance, but they always taught me about the concept of passive income. We're on a vacation. We're doing something. They have a Tesla. They have something. It's something I enjoy. I want that birthday gift. Why are we getting that? And that's because of those renters paying the rent. So they've always ingrained that into my childhood. And when I was 12 years old, I told my dad, look, I'm really hungry. I finally want to do this. You know, I'm old enough now. I really think I'm responsible. And that's whenever we had started on my very first house. Because I knew that if I could just make $200 of cash flow a month, then I could at least have that to myself. And instead of getting something stupid for my birthday, then I could have a consistent stream of income. So all the video games, all the Pokemon cards, anything I wanted, you know, it wasn't just the 1 month of the birthday. I could have it for the rest of the year.
But I wouldn't give you all that cash flow.
Absolutely not. My dad, he doesn't believe in entitlement. Right. So instead of $200 cash flow, we made a deal whenever I was 12 years old. He said, look, Odin, you're 12. I'll put up 100% of the money, but you have to do 100% of the work. And even with all of that, you only make 10% of the profits. So remember, I'm not making $200 a month as a 12-year-old. I'm making $20 a month or $5 a week. But coming from a kid with no allowance, that would mean the world to me.
Which is a normal allowance too, but I love that you had to work to even get your normal allowance.
Yeah, so I was there leasing it out. I was there with the construction aspect. I was there doing the accounting. I was there going to the city. I was there for every single step-by-step process.
And that was starting at 12?
12 years old.
But also remember, you said there's a normal allowance. No, there's no such thing as allowance. I allow him to live there. Chores are something you just do. You don't get paid for it. You understand? You have to do something different to get paid. So that's the difference also. A lot of parents give the kids chores and give them allowance. I'm like, why? You're teaching them indentured servitude. I believe you have to earn money. So a little different.
Well, and there's that I can never pronounce this, damn it. But the delayed gratification, or did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Jeez,
Damn
hey.
good.
But just listen, that is one of the hardest things to instill in children. I have a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old right now, and I'm like, when are you going to come and speak to my children just so I can help, right? But just trying to get that into you, and you took it to the extreme, which is what I love. You took it and resonated with it, and you're accepting it, and you're actually putting it into your business now. So, all right, so we're 12, now how do you go from 12, I'm getting quote-unquote allowance money that I'm earning, or whatever money we want to talk about that, how do you get the balls enough to say, I'm done with school? Walk me through that whole process. Walk me through that whole...
I was in public school. So first I used to go to a private school, and then I went to public school, and I realized over time that I would ask teachers questions, things that were ingrained in my childhood that I thought were normal questions. Hey, I don't understand. How come you're telling me we have to pay taxes? This Dave Ramsey method and all of this I'm learning in class, that's totally against all of my dad's beliefs and everything he's taught me. And it was over time I started realizing they're not teaching me the things that I would need in school, to take over my parents' business, the things that I need to succeed in life. So I was 15 years old. I was about to go in 11th grade, and I told my parents, I said, look, I want to be homeschooled. I've been doing a lot of work on, studying on how it works, and they said, that's great. If you want to do it, you figure out all the homeschooling laws, you figure out how it works, and we'll let you do it. So, if you want me to go through the numbers of it.
Yeah, because I didn't know that it was actually your
It was on my
brainchild,
volition.
which is
Yes.
because I witnessed it from afar, social media, and it was very to just bring back home a little. This was what year?
Ooh, 2022, I believe. Yes.
Was it, or I
Yes,
thought it was
it
a little
was-
earlier than
Well,
that. But
when he's 15, he's 18, so 3 years ago, whatever that is.
okay, all right, no problem. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
no,
to.
it was
fun, 22,
It was
whatever.
2022, or summer of 2022. I remember I told my parents, we were choosing whether I was going to go back to school or not. And I remember it's, I think, 22 or 24 credits to graduate high school in Texas. And whenever I left, I needed 8 more credits. So there's 120 hours to a credit. And basically, I learned that when you homeschool, you're technically considered as a private school. So my parents were my private school teachers. So if you notice how in public schools you can't teach about religion, you can't teach about things like that, but in private schools you can, that's exactly what we did. We made our own curriculum. So our curriculum was real estate. Our math classes, accounting, business, finance, all of that. And that is what contributed to those. It was 40 hours a week, so 120 hours to the credits, 12 times 8, 960 hours that I needed to fulfill. So 40 hours a week over 24 weeks, so I think it was 6 months. And that's how I finished school, in 6 months rather than the extra 2 years as a 15-year-old.
Do you still have, or so just randomly, your social life, right? So when you left school,
Oh yes, I'm still
you
friends
still-
with the same people, and it's weird to see the connotation of how they think of me now. It's it's
they're
not
about to
like-
go off to college now, those same kids, right?
Yes.
So they're about to start their education that you've
Right.
been 4 years started.
And that's one thing is, it's like I don't feel like I forsake my childhood to for my success. I think instead I actually propelled both. I actually have more time to go play with my friends instead of having to worry about, hey man, I got to go to work tomorrow. I can choose if I want to be off. But it's all out of my own volition. I'm very hungry. I'm very driven on what I want to do. That's why I decided at 15 years old, Dad, it's such a stupid sentence to say, you guys have this whole business, you've built everything up, for me to not do anything about it. I have other siblings that don't want anything to do with the real estate. I'm the only one that does. And I still love them all, just the same.
I don't think you take days off though. to highlight that, like just watching from afar, witnessing everything. One of the photos that I almost took was you had the flu and you were still getting documents signed and still getting closings done, right? Like that. To go back to what you've done and ingrain work ethic into you, I just want to commend that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
But I want you to think about this. We're different animals, and we admit that. We're very successful, we're very driven people. Not everybody is. And you heard about the 80-20 rule in life. 20% succeed, 80%, and that's the truth. Are you willing to get up every single day and do something? Look at your most successful people, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. Do they work 8 hours a day? You don't even have to talk radio. Sean Hannity, he does 3 hours radio, then he does a TV show at night. That guy works 16 hours a day. You do whatever it takes. We only work a half a day, 6 in the morning till midnight. That's not bad.
7 days a week or 6?
Well, we'll also take off a lot of time. Like his mother, for example, she just spent 6 weeks in Africa climbing a stupid mountain, Kilimanjaro. Then she spent 6 weeks in Korea. She's traveling all the time.
Stupid mountain.
Yeah, but my point is, we have the balance because we have the freedom, because we have the money to do what we want. We work on our time. Now, we could take 3 months off if we want to go on a safari together. We can do that and just pick right back up where we left off, because what we learned is you're building a business, it runs itself.
So what was that as a father to you, right? To have your son come to you and say, "Hey, listen, I want to." Are your siblings older or younger?
I'm the youngest.
Okay, you're the youngest. So am I. So God bless. So
good.
all right. So now you're following, and now you have somebody that's supposed to follow in footsteps, ideally, if they are good footsteps, and now you have a 15-year-old stepping out and say, "Hey, I want to go my own path." How do you break that down? Like, how do you process
You
it?
gotta
What was
realize,
that for? Like,
do
for
they
you?
have the maturity? Do they have the discipline? Most kids don't have discipline. You give them $50, they blow it that day. Not this kid. He'll just sit there and he goes, "I don't need that." Look how he dresses. He dresses as bad as I do. By the way, I'm wearing this on purpose because, in case he was nervous, I said I'll wear a Hello Kitty shirt, make you less nervous. My point is he doesn't buy designer clothes. He buys very frugal stuff. We shop at Walmart. All the people that buy the show-off stuff are broke. You understand? Millionaires dress like regular people. Every millionaire I know dress like regular people. The flashy ones are all fake. So I think you have to discipline that in them as well. So it's like he said, what do you get for Christmas? What do you get for your birthday?
Just one gift.
One gift. And at first, he didn't like that. But then what you found as he got older, I go, what do you want for Christmas? He goes, I don't need anything. He gets one gift. He had a whole year to decide. He still didn't want something sometimes. Until the one time you told me you wanted 8-plex. Remember that?
Oh,
Tell him
man.
that story. I think that's a funny story. If that's okay.
One thing though that I do want to annotate though is I do understand what you're saying is, how does this feel like coming from the father perspective? And honestly, my dad actually did a very good job on raising us as he doesn't care what we do as long as we're the best at it and we're happy at it. This is my passion. It's not of my own volition. He's not forcing me to be here on this podcast and talk with this big smile on my face. But when I was 8 years old, I said, Dad, look, I'm so responsible now. I'm the big 8.
He already bought some houses, so.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was before that.
I was 8 years old.
Oh, yeah, that was 8. That's when you
I
first
didn't have a
told about
single
passive
thing.
income.
And I said, Dad, you know what? He was going to be so nice to me, the man who's super T-Rex arms, super frugal, he can't reach in his pockets for more money. He said, you know what, Odin, we'll go on eBay, we'll spend like $80 or $100 because I know you love Pokemon cards, and we'll get a whole binder full of them. And that meant the world to me. But you know what? I told him, I said, Dad, can I just have an 8-plex? Because I'm 8 years old, an 8-unit, and then I can make passive income every month. And, I can buy as many Pokemon cards as I want. So I think it was, my birthday's in late August, like August 28th, and in September 2014, he had bought an 8-unit. And I remember, I was so excited. I was like, Daddy, you actually did it. You got it for me. You surprised me. It was the first day. I remember we were standing there, and he goes, no, that's mine. And
He was crying about that.
I was like, it crushed me,
amazing.
But it's the fact that as an 8-year-old, I already saw the vision. I was already so passionate and so excited that I wanted that for my birthday. To understand the concept of passive income, to realize, I don't have to work for all that money. I can have my money working for me and paying me. As an 8-year-old, that I realize is he was, instilling that from a very young age.
So how do you go from, walk me through your process of going from father to teacher now, right? Because you have to, all right, now we have to come up with the curriculum and everything, because this is all during, from my perspective, the reason why I wasn't arguing about the year, but from my perspective, I was trying to remember back, I just gone through the battles of my oldest at the time, I think he was 7, somewhere around there, 6, 7, he went to June Shelton School for gifted people. He had sensory issues.
I went to Charles Xavier's once, so that's cool.
He was nonverbal until he was 4, and then COVID happened, and they're slapping a mask on him.
Oh,
he already doesn't speak. He already has sensory issues.
that
He already
would be
has
so
all
weird.
these challenges against him. Now they're forcing masks on him. He would come home and be like, Daddy, if I don't wear a mask, I'm going to die. I'm like, Jesus Christ, right? So I'm bad on that. Around that same time, he ended up getting kicked out because this was after, and they started loosening things. And I was like, I don't want him to wear a mask anymore. He doesn't need it, right? So I battled that, and then they kicked him out. So now, as a father, I'm like, geez, do I homeschool? So they were at a younger age where I'm not a teacher. I know my wins. I know my pluses and minuses, and teaching is not one of them. So we ended up going to public school, and I was scared because he was going to private schools all the way up to that. I was scared that public school wasn't going to be able to work for him, but he did. He took off, and he's flourishing now. So it was scary for me. How do you go from, I'm only going to work, I got a kid going to school, now all right, I have to be a teacher?
Right. Well, you got to realize I also teach seminars. So I do teach real estate.
Fair enough.
However, with kids, I didn't have patience at the time. You know what I mean? I'm realistic,
Yeah, I suck at it.
But there's the dichotomy of, I also have a wife. And she's Asian, so that makes her super tiger mom. You understand that? Got to get straight A's, that's what you are, right? And I'm like, do whatever you want, be happy in life. That's all I want, you know what I mean? And so you got the balance of the two, but you got to realize what he excelled at. You find what the kids love and what they're passionate about and push more towards that. So he loved the numbers side. So it made it great for him to learn accounting and cost segregation, that kind of stuff. And he understood all the numbers, so you can make a whole curriculum around that. You know, he taught himself Spanish in the past year. Why? Because the workers, I couldn't understand him. He taught himself Spanish in a year. Now he speaks Spanish. So it's, if you want something, you're passionate, push it towards that. You know, he doesn't need to know calculus. He doesn't need to know, the chart of the elements, Plagio class feldspar. That will never be used in life. All the stuff we learn in school, do we ever use it? Why don't they teach you how to balance a checkbook? Why don't they teach you how to fill out a mortgage paper, you know, what your FICO score should be? He knows all that stuff. That's what he learned in school. That became his curriculum because I wanted to teach him things that are directly related to what he was trying to do with his passion, which was real estate. So I totally geared his curriculum towards real estate. And between my wife, she's Cuban and Korean, which makes her twice as angry, but she's very scholarly because she has her bachelor's degree. She was a major in the Air Force, so she can do the curriculum side where I'm not good at that. I'm like just big picture, but she could put into a format that he could do. Make sense? So it was a balance between the 2 of us. And he's pretty much works on his own. He can work at a computer and do it on his own. You know how you have to sit there and you go and you look and your kids keep switching between 2 screens, faking like they're working? You know, which he knows all that stuff, but he actually would do the work. That's the difference. So his curriculum became Resman. You're like, what's Resman? Well, that's software to run apartments. You understand that? He learned. He went over the Apartment Association. He's an IROP certified, independent rental owner professional now. So he got some education in the Apartment Association. Why not learn there where it's actual stuff he'll use in his career? Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to have the balance of, and you know, here's a kid that's younger going in a class with 35-year-old women that don't even care that we're in that class that run apartments. But he has passion about it.
And they don't even, most of the time, they don't even know why they're there or like
Exactly.
what
Well,
the
they just
actual...
want the certification because the boss told him. He wants to know so he can raise his NOI and he knows
And
what it
then go
means.
use it and
he
leverage it.
He understands cap rates where most kids don't understand that stuff. So.
Walk me through your typical day, right? So what's Monday look like for
All
you?
right.
Yeah,
I
go
wake
your
up-
day because right now your day's different than how I used to do
Oh
it.
man, today's fun. So I wake up 7, 8 a.m. You know, try to get there. I always got to wake up early because we live 15 minutes outside San Antonio, so it's always a very long drive, a lot of traffic for me.
So when you say get there, you mean the
But I
job
get
site?
there, so
or-
this is where it starts. I wake up my dad and I say, Dad, where do you want me today? Man has 20 properties, so you know I got to ask him what's happening next. So recently, do we talk about Crockett or Natalia? Which one?
We'll talk about Crockett for now.
So recently we've been having homeless problems.
Yeah.
And we, you know, I've been having to go there a lot. We built a fence.
Wait,
did
let's
a-
not call them homeless. Financially disenfranchised people that voted for Kamala Harris.
I call them liberals.
Okay, that too. So I wake him up, you know, I ask him, and then whether I have a worker with me or not, I have my man Javier, picked him up from Home Depot. You know, if I need help that day, I'll have him. I usually drive a truck with a trailer, so a dump trailer too, might add. So trash super easy to go in and out. And you know, recently I've been on that property. I would say I get home around like 8 or 9 p.m.
What type of property is it?
This is a fourplex.
It's a little 4-unit, yeah.
Okay.
4-unit. 2 separate duplexes, same lot, 2 brand new roofs on there. Bought it for, what was it, 80K a piece? 80K a piece, and should be valued around 300,000 or 400,000.
Yeah.
So the whole point though is, usually I'm working, you know, 7 to 7, 8 to 8. You know, I mean, it's 12-hour days for me, and that's just a realistic aspect.
At the job site, right?
Yes,
So you're
yeah.
working crews, you're actually doing the actual work
Yes,
that needs
and
to be
and
done
I'm there. I'll ask
for
my
the
dad.
improvements, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
these are they repairs or they're improvements before?
These are improvements on this
Okay,
one. So,
so they're
we do
improvement.
everything because
Yeah.
we have maintenance, we have everything. And people go like, well, why are you teaching him the trades? Because if you go back a couple years ago, I never do trades, right? But how old is he? So I can go to any job site. I know electrical, I know plumbing, I know every aspect of the business. I know foundation work, I know roofs. This is 3 tabs, multidimensional. What's it cost? Price per square. But he didn't know any of that. So I took it back to the basics of you're going to work alongside every crew. You're going to learn every job site. I want you to learn electrical. I want you to learn plumbing. You know, how do you can tell what if it's an open ground or whatever. And then he starts doing it all with the people. He's learning what they do. I don't want him to have to actually do this work. What he's learning is how long does it take? What is wrong? What is right? Is this the code or is it not the code? Because later on that will bite you in the butt and kill you on your rehabs. So when it comes to scope of work, he knows how to write it out now.
So, and not just to also touch point, like knowing when you're getting bullshitted, right?
That's what I'm trying to get
how
to.
much?
Yes,
Yeah, right.
That's what
How,
I'm trying to say. No, I know it does not cost $2,000 to put a breaker box in. I was doing one the other day. You know, I can do it on my own. I've been there. I understand the perspective from my workers. I know what it's like to be a $10 an hour worker, $15 an hour, $30 an hour. I know what things cost. I know what it looks like. I know how long it takes. All of the knowledge for the past 3 years since I was 15 has been accumulating that every single day. It's all that experience. I used to have so much fear of dad whenever I'm 18. You know, I'm speaking in the future because this is all, that whole question was derived from fears. How am I going to know what's right? How, you know, is there any way I can vet this? And I realized over the past 3 years, I feel so much more comfortable with real estate now because I've been living, you know, breathing, eating real estate. And that's it. That is my whole life now. And because it's like a second nature to me.
I want you to walk me through what your typical process would be overall on a deal, right? Okay. So if you were like, all right, I just finished the one what was the property name?
Crockett.
Crockett, all right?
Yes.
You just finished Crockett, that one's funded, on to the next one. So what do you do? Because a lot of our viewers, everybody that we talk to, are typical wholesalers. They're typical direct to seller. They do a different type of investing that you guys actually do, right? Lifestyles teach a very specific and proven method, right? One that is, hey, this works. Don't fucking change, right? So walk me through your process of how are you going to find the next deal, right? Your underwriting, all the way through.
Yes, sir. So this is actually, we have a perfect story. There was a little 11 unit, right, with a bar, and this came to us on Facebook. So everyone asks us, how do you find these insane deals? Oh, these things don't exist on MLS or anything. Facebook. We have all these wholesalers come to us. Everyone knows my dad as the crap box king of San Antonio. And, it's just these people come to us. And
we're past 10 minutes. You can curse.
You cannot curse.
Yeah.
You're a good kid.
That's right. But I remember there was a deal we looked at, and I can tell we evaluate deals all the time. We look at the area. We know San Antonio, so it's easier for us, but we'll get from the really easy perspective. So first thing.
Well, how do you determine a good area? Because that's important to a lot of people when they're investing. What do we invest in? And tell them kind of like, do we buy high-end stuff, low-end stuff? Give them a little bit of a box.
Yeah, what's your avatar is what we always call it, right?
So 60s to 90s built.
Yep.
Pitched roofs, separate meters. We don't, we want things with an industry in the area. Like for example, San Antonio is very good. They have medical industry. They have a ton of things there. What else? Damn. Let's see. Brick. Sorry,
so the first one you said, what was the year?
60s to 90s.
So that's huge
our
right
typical
now.
build.
Because when you mention San Antonio to me, I gag, right? Because I think of San Antonio, old houses, everything that you're touching.
And we do buy stuff in the 30s and 40s as well.
But
you understand? So.
but it goes down to like your avatar, right? You guys know exactly what you're going to. So in my head, when you mention San Antonio, I think old as hell houses, properties are falling up, like really over. But you guys have a different avatar, so you're honing in.
Right.
So
we don't do the very high end. We don't do the very low.
What would be the price window, right? Price points.
Do you have, it's hard to say that on houses or apartments.
So let's talk single family, right? Because I'm even uneducated in that. You're way above me in that. I got to go to your school for
so
that
we
next
typically
step.
will buy something between $100,000 and at the max you want to go about $275,000, and there's a reason for it. It will not cash flow. You understand that? So what I really suggest. You can watch a thing like this for an hour or two. You're not learning how to do this. How do you really learn how to do a box? Come to the seminar I teach. I show you step by step how to actually do this. But the reason we pick that is people will buy these expensive $400,000 or $500,000 houses. Well, if your rent's $3,200 and your mortgage is $4,000, you're not making money. Well, that's dumb as a box of rocks. That's what people in California do. You understand? And hope it goes up in value. We buy. How do we make money? When do we make money?
When we buy. Equity capture, that's number one thing. We buy things below market value. Yeah. So that's, like I said, we don't want this super, super expensive home, especially because what happens whenever the economy goes down? The people that are in their super high up jobs, they get fired, things go lower. And that's why we get middle class workforce housing. That is our main box. We just want that.
Okay. Perfect. So the one you found on Facebook, keep going on that story. So
this is an apartment though.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
And to step-by-step process, we evaluate deals all the time. We walk on there, I can tell in 5 minutes whether my dad wants to buy that apartment or not. All right, buy that deal. So we walk around, and the number one thing we do is just a physical eye inspection. All right, we both have little pieces of cardboard. We tear it off whatever we can find, and 2 little Sharpies. And both of us walk around like 2 little men, and we annotate every single thing. Okay, that's a metal roof. Let's see how much that'll be. Oh, that looks like it's leaking. That foundation looks off a little there. Oh, do I need to put wiring there? Is it separate metered? Is it not? Is there gas? We annotate every single thing. So that 11 unit was perfect because it was the test to show me that I could see things through my dad's eyes. So we had walked around that whole entire deal, and I knew that he wanted to buy it because he was there for more than 30 minutes. And I remember, right?
Yeah, right.
On our pieces of cardboard, we had a rehab budget, and I was 10 grand more conservative than he was. But it was the fact that we were both seeing it from the similar eyes, and everything that I wrote down was something that he saw too.
Now, what were the things that stood out? What did we love about? What physical aspects of that property over like a lot of the other 10 units we looked at? What was the sexy things about it?
First of all, it was listed as all 1-1s, but there were 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. But everyone was too lazy to take off the plywood or look inside the windows.
It was boarded up one.
Mm-hmm. So that was number one, the value add when we buy. All right, everything else in the area was selling for a very high price per door, And these 1-1s were selling for super low. And
It was completely vacant.
Everything
or
was vacant.
backslash
Boarded up.
homeless.
Bought it from a local wholesaler. You might have heard of them, New Western.
Oh, perfect.
I
Exactly.
like people go. You
can't find deals from New
there's
Western,
great
though.
deals from everyone. I don't care if it's. And I know all the wholesalers. Everybody knows me. And there's 20 other people looked at this deal. They could have bought it, but they didn't know how to do due diligence. They don't know the numbers. They're too cheap to find a mentor that actually is very successful. He found a mentor, his dad, right? It doesn't matter if it's my dad or Del Walmsley or whoever I found. I found Del Walmsley. You find somebody super successful that's a multimillionaire, learn from them. You can't learn from broke people. I've never gotten a job in my life from a broke person. Have you?
No,
Yeah,
I've tried,
this
I
is true.
think, but no.
Does that make sense? You got to find somebody successful. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love you saying that. Did you finish your story? or-
No.
pretty much.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah.
So you found out that it was that. All right. So it was not 1-1s. There was
Right,
some
that's the
2s and
value
3s in
of
there,
that
right?
The
value.
other value is the physical characteristics of it. So remember when it had all separate that was awesome?
Oh, separate meters. Because, we don't have to do all bills paid. Everyone can pay for their own electric.
Yeah, so that makes you get more responsible of renters in the end. You understand? So each one was individual meters. That was huge for that property.
So are you making your offers yet, or are they still going through him?
Now he's on
No,
his own.
now I'm 18. I
he
can do
just
everything on my own, yeah.
Okay.
At Lifestyles, they have something called a lead investor and can syndicate. He wasn't allowed to do it till he's 18. Guess what he is? 18. So he went through all the training. There's a certification program. He had to take like 37 tests. You have to score 100% on every test. Can't even get one wrong. This is what he's doing at 18. There's guys at 40 who can't pass those tests. So
Have you started putting eyes on your first one then, or how's that process going?
SEC rules,
gotta be-
we,
yes.
I have to follow my SEC laws and regulations, but I'm always evaluating deals every day. There's some very low price per door ones that I'm looking at.
Fair enough. Roger that.
yeah.
Where no, you're fine. What's the
love
big
it.
over the past 4 years, right? So what's your biggest lesson that you've learned?
Was really my circle of 5 friends. I was still a kid. I was a bad kid back then. I was a stupid kid. So it was actually a good thing that I wanted to be homeschooled too, because that took me out of that, right? And I
He went
realized,
to private Christian school. Then we threw him in with the animals at the public school. He got in some trouble, and then he went back to homeschool. That's what he's talking about. You can tell him.
You're talking to the worst student ever, right? I was literally teacher's worst nightmare.
well, yeah, we're
It's
the
in the-
youngest
it's in
kids,
the-
so
I
that's,
got
that's
F's
how
in
it
English.
is.
Put it that way. I only have a high
Wait,
school
we're all
diploma.
3 the youngest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just,
Yeah,
it
it's in our blood.
resonates with us to be a little
And he's
mischievous.
Italian.
Huh, yeah, we can see it.
His nickname's Papagallo.
So
Oh, yes, the biggest
5
lesson.
friends.
My circle of 5 friends, I realized I couldn't learn anything from that. I couldn't be successful, Keeping around that, it was only going to bring me down. It's like an anchors and engines in this world. I was a little boat that was trying to push forward, and they were the anchor that was bringing me down. So I realized by
Where's
me...
that from? I'm interrupting because that was
I'm trying
great.
to-
Anchors and engines.
yeah.
If you came up on your own, you got a
no, that's what I
hashtag
was-
that and quote it.
that's just a common analogy.
Kathy Ireland's.
I don't know who Kathy
great,
Ireland's
man.
is.
God
she
bless.
was a supermodel, and you learned it from because I look at your books, right? He learned that from Darren Hardy. Which
Yeah,
book- which
like I
book?
said,
Compound Effect.
he's been raising me, instilling this good stuff in my mind since I was little. So it's just, like I said, it's just normal for me to say these things. But the thing is I realized by me changing my circle of 5 friends, now there's still kids that are very young, just like, my age, 18, 19, still in real estate, a lot better kids. I realized I couldn't become successful like that. And being with my dad, replicating that success, learning from people who had done it before, that is probably my biggest lesson. I couldn't learn this on my own. Why would I want to do it alone? That's why I love Lifestyles. I mean, they've been around for 35 years. They've been doing the same thing that's, a box that has worked for 30 years. And I realized that that's something I wanted to perfect. It worked for my parents, so why wouldn't it work for me? So I'm just going to replicate that.
Is there a way for an 18-year-old, one of your friends, let's just say, who doesn't have your dad, is there a way for him
Absolutely.
to replicate it still?
Yes, he can still get in real estate. It's just going to take a little longer.
Well, give an example. That one kid that came, Johnny.
Oh, there's a kid, I think he's 19 or 20 years old. I mean, he's pretty much my age. We talk. We play Fortnite together. So just to let you know, we're still kids. And the thing is, he has an uncle that was in Lifestyles, and I think it was about a year ago, he came to one of the seminars. It wasn't my dad teaching, it was Dal. And it was insane to see that. I talked to the kid for 6 hours. And he didn't even watch the seminar for the second day because we were so, we were just enamored at seeing another young kid with this good brain. And since then, he is in a single family house that has $467 of cash flow a month. I think like 50,000 equity. But the thing is, with all the connections, people that he's seen through lifestyles, he's going to get a first-time homeowner loan, the FHA loan, for 3.5% down. He's probably going to buy a fourplex, live in one, rent the 3 others out. And he's a kid that did that. He made all his money through solar panel sales. And he did that when he was 18 and 19 years old.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. You have to be hungry enough to want to do it. Look, in this world, I realized if you want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. Or if you don't, you'll make an excuse on why you can't. And I used to make excuses back then on why I couldn't do real estate. And now I'm sitting here on this podcast because I want to do it.
And getting up and out of bed in the morning.
That too.
That's a big difference.
That's big. That's hard when you're young. You don't want to get out till noon.
Mm-hmm.
You got to learn the discipline.
It's always on the weekends that they do, though, right? Oh, Monday through Friday, they go to wake up and go to school. They're gonna sleep in. Saturday comes on, 6:30. They are awake out of bed. Yeah, I can't deal with it. What do you have? What advice do you have for parents also? So this is to both of you. So parents and I don't want to say students, but younger people that are looking for a different path, right? Then conventional 9-to-5 rat race, going to college. That was me. I went and I did an engineering degree and everything.
Oh, wow,
so
you're smart.
Damn.
Not really.
Did it take you 8 years to get a 4-year degree?
No. I did 5.
Okay.
So I came in I was a JDoc. I went to SUNY Maritime. So I was a merchant marine. So
Okay, cool.
I went from engineering offshore and then real estate. So.
And I think people are going to jump around because when you're 18 or whatever, you're going off to college, you don't know what you want. They sit there and they go, I'm going to get a physics degree, and then they all end up with psychology. We know that because it's easier, right? And they'll jump from job to job. The hardest thing in life is find your passion. And once you find that, then you do it. But then you have to think, okay, I'm passionate about this job. Yes, it'll make money, but then you start thinking about, well, I want to make money forever, like what we're doing, real estate. You have to figure out, you have to have a passion for it. I look at my seminar when I teach it all the time. Parents will drag their kids in there and say, I want my kid to be a real estate investor. Odin, you always talk to kids. They always want to come up to you and talk to you.
Absolutely.
Explain to you what you see in kids, because I think from your perspective, it's better from mine. So.
Absolutely. From the parent perspective, they're excited. This has changed their life. They're super. I mean, come on. All the money they worked for 30 years is finally doing more in 1 year than it has for the past 30. And for them, I understand the parents' excitement, and they want to push their kid into. They're like, this is the best thing for you. This is right for you. And even though, yes, it is, your kid has to want it. They go, I want you to go motivate my kid. Go talk to my kid. I can't do that. Your kid wants to talk about Roblox. Mm-hmm. And I would talk to him about Roblox all day until he's ready to do real estate. So I see all these parents, they force their kids, and that's not the right way to do it. My dad made real estate fun for me, and that's what made me enjoy it. You see the photos. I'm 3 years old. I play with 3 paint brushes, and I'm done for the day. I'm a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I didn't make him paint the whole wall. I'm like, no, just okay, you had fun, you're done.
Yeah.
It made it a game. Because I didn't want him to hate it.
Keeping them around it though, right?
Exactly. And it was a good environment. That's what I encourage parents to do is surround your kids in a good environment. Dude, they could be sitting in the back of the room in their phone. They're tuning in and listening to words that they don't even know or understand yet, but naturally these things will come up back to them. There'll be a memory that they're going to have.
My favorite, anytime I do a lot of networking, or else I used to. I toned it down a lot. I've stopped being a lender. But going to the events and seeing young kids there, right? Seeing Andy Webb's boy at every networking event, and he's younger than my kids, right? I think he's 6 now or something, but they're homeschooling him too. Yep. Just the right decisions for the right reasons. It's sad to me because I grew up, my dad was an entrepreneur, it was ingrained in us that, listen, you have to go to school, you have to go to college, you have to do something, right, with your life. But doing something with your life meant having to go to school. Like that was all right, now you are allowed to go do something with your life. In all reality, that's bullshit. And it's sad. And that's why I always try to bring that gong and get that message out there that college isn't always the answer anymore.
Can I ring the gong?
You can if you want.
Oh. Yes!
College isn't the answer anymore always. You can do other things to make a living and make a successful living for
Really,
yourself.
I think if kids really want to get involved faster, I would say don't go to college. Go and learn a trade. Because you can make 6 figures in a year or 2 with a trade and have that initial capital to do what we do. The key thing is most people want instant gratification. I want to buy a house right away. So they'll get quick BS stuff, wholesaling, all that kind of stuff. And it's great, but it's so time intensive to find one wholesale deal. You did all the stuff for a year and you finally got one deal. Not everyone's good at that. You understand? You made $5,000. Well, that's not enough to buy a house on your own anyway, so I got to wholesale 5 more. Why not just do a career, get some credit score, do it the right way, slow and steady wins the race, you'll be a millionaire no matter what. In a few years, if you just would focus on one thing. And that's why I say become an electrician, become a plumber. It doesn't mean you have to do that forever. It's just giving you the initial capital to do this.
How long do you guys try to hold your properties for, right? Like, what's your goal?
Year and a day to 3 years. Depends also, apartment, house, right? But
So
houses,
single family, we'll talk single family in that.
Explain to why I do that.
So the reason why I say year and a day, that's something that's been ingrained into me, is I hate the F word. I don't do flipping. Nothing, less than that. Capital gains, always long-term capital gains. I don't want that tax to be on my earned income whenever you sell a property, below that year and a day. So that's why we always wait that time.
And that's why it's perfect. You put a renter in there, it's a year and a day, right? But why do we have the maximum of 3 years? Why do we do that?
Oh, is it because of everything over time and depreciation? The value starts to go down of your water heaters, things breaking.
Well, yeah, do it about that water heater stuff.
Okay.
Things break down. Yeah.
Things break over time. The things that you just put in 3 years ago, your parts are going to wear. I don't want to hold on to the property for 3, 5, 7 years. Even though, yes, it has the consistent cash flow income, it's also time to move on from that too. It's appreciated, and also all that debt equity that's been sitting in there too.
So you're able to recapture that. What is your goal for your returns or whatever,
Always.
right? So
200 to 600 of cash flow, usually 100% return. I want to double my money in about 2 years. So let's say 30K out of pocket, I get my 30K back and I make another 30 on top of that.
So in 2 to 3 years, you're going to double your money,
Yes.
but all the way up to that,
I'm still going to make 2
you're
to
still
6.
making,
The
and
cash
then
flow.
you've done enough improvements into the property up to that point where you're going to be able to float, hopefully rehab free. Hopefully,
Yes.
that's the goal. I mean, shit always comes up, but for 3 years before things starts breaking.
And you got to realize that's the big thing of what I teach in the seminars. I show you how to do that. Real estate should not pay toilets, tenants, and taxes. Now, why do people do that? Because they're cheap. They buy rundown properties. They don't fix anything right. You need to learn a model, a map that you can replicate. And that's what I teach. And I can't do this in 5 minutes here, but here's the best product, best price of exactly that model we do. We do every property exactly the same. Same countertop, same appliance, every single time. So we know our exact cost of this box and how to do that step by step.
I love, it's a big thing of being an investor, not, you're not a homeowner, right? Like,
Right.
I'm not trying to fix up these properties and
And there's, did you know that about the Chinese satellite?
which one?
The warranty satellite. So when you put all brand new appliances in, they last about 3 years. And after that, they all get zapped by Chinese. So I want to sell it before it's a headache. I get no phone calls when everything's beautiful.
Fair enough.
Understand?
What are your thoughts on other investment properties? In the past, I would say 5 years, we've seen a spew of them gorge out. Short-term rentals, Airbnbs, all these. When I was a lender, I would always try to say people are trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. I overpaid for this property. How can I save it with, I'll just throw a shit ton of renters in this place and just rent by the bed. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, first off, Odin, what's the most important thing? We make money what?
When we buy.
So the point is,
That's
if you bought it wrong, you're not going to fix a sinking ship. But the way we save any deal is, even if you did it wrong, because I have a lot of people come to Lifestyles, they already have 5 properties, and they're losing money on them. Then they sit down with a mentor, and we fix all their problems, and all of a sudden they're cash flow and making money. There's a lot more to that, but you make money how many ways in real estate?
5?
5. Do you know the 5?
I actually listened to him yesterday, so yes, but I would like you to reiterate them.
Go through the 5 and explain why this is so important. I want you to hear from an 18-year-old, not me.
Yes, and I would
He always
like
calls me the old fat guy on stage.
Oh my God! I actually sent you that time. I was like,
know.
he just called you a fat guy on
I
stage.
know.
It was amazing.
Well, I'm still a kid. I'm going to be honest
Perfect.
on
No,
the
it's
radio.
perfect. All right, so tell me what the 5 are.
Number one, my most favorite, most important is equity capture. We buy things below market value because we make money when we buy. As he always says, is for example, I have a property in a neighborhood that's worth $200,000. I'm going to buy the property for $100,000. See the $100,000 of equity that I have there? Make money when you buy. Number 2, cash flow. We, renter pays the rent every month. That cash flow is the monthly stream of income. And in my dad's seminar, he teaches how that stream of income is actually tax-free. And you can't explain that. We don't have.
We're not getting into that right
Right,
now.
we're not 16 hours, but that's also the power of cash flow. Number 3, appreciation. Properties go up in value every year, and that's also why it's really good whenever we cash out refi, because we see some insane appreciation rates, especially in San Antonio. Number 4, tax benefits. Love them. It's very hard to explain all that, but mainly tax-free. And the 5th is principal pay down. Every single time the renter pays the rent, they're paying a little bit of that mortgage and they're paying that insurance down, and that's building back more equity.
My favorite line to tell borrowers, every time I would get into a rate discussion with borrowers when I was lending, and whether they were trying to shop me over an eighth of a point or not, I'm like, why do you care about your rate? Your tenant's going to be paying your mortgage.
Exactly.
Stop worrying about your rate. Go and stack more rentals.
Yeah.
Right? Every property is a bar of gold. Go stack them.
Oh, I love when you say that. They're a bar of gold. Go stack them. And at the end, yes,
Here's the biggest thing, and people, they worry about this number and this number, and they're trying to fit this in this little chart every time. And they focus, well, this number's too low, and this number, I'm like, nothing's perfect. You understand that? It's very forgiving. Even if one of the sectors falls, the other 4 will pick up. Well, interest rates are 8%. I don't care. Well, I'm going to wait till interest rates are... No. The most important thing of everybody listening is the most important radio station. What is it?
I don't listen to radio.
WITFM.
I don't listen to radio.
No, it's What's in it for me.
Okay, there you go.
So my point is what's in it for me? I have acronyms for
Yeah.
You're not used to me. What's in it for me is because I'm like, I don't care if it's $200 cash flow, $500 cash flow. It's what's my rate of return. Am I making 8 to 30% return tax-free? So it doesn't matter if interest rates are 8% or 4%. I want to net 8 to 30%. And when you look at it that way, I look at interest rates like putting on a roof. It doesn't matter. You've got to need a roof anyways. You need to have rates. It doesn't matter if it's 8 or 7.25. It's sort of like when you're shopping roofers. Yeah, it might be cheaper, but that guy's a pain in the butt. He never answers my calls. He's not walking me through the process. It's all about relationships. I want you to do this for yourself, not by yourself. You form a team around you. Your lender's part of your team. You want the loyalty of people that know you, know your portfolio, and you have no headaches. You understand that? The contractor's the same way. You build a team around you. You understand? The problem is people are so cheap, trying to save so much money that they kill themselves in this industry. They'll worry about an eighth of a point, like you were saying, with a lender. I'm like, my gosh, you ruined a relationship over a few $100s? I make millions. Do I get the best rates on everything? No. I don't care about it. I want to sit there. I'd rather pay a contractor 10% more than the other guy because I know he keeps his word and he'll get it done. And when I go to line items at the end, he goes, well, I wasn't counting the outlet covers. I wasn't counting this. That's extra. And then they dollar you, nickel and dime you in the end. You didn't save any money, and they take 2 weeks longer, which where you're stuck in hard money. That's a couple $100 a day. You made up for it. So a lot of people focus wrong on that stuff.
What's your perfect or ideal team, right? So if he's going out on his own, what would you say? Hey, listen, son, you need to fill these slots. This is your ideal team before you go win the pennant.
Well, it's
not person-wise, but roles, right?
You need to know. You have to have your realtors lined up, your wholesalers lined up. You have to have a big network. You understand? I like when people go to a lot of networking events. Throw 1,000 things. We had so many people are loyal to one person. That's not good either. You need to, even though I love a contractor, I need 3 of everything, 3 of every trade. Going to networking events, that's where you meet people. Learn from everybody, get it. You should have a big list of things before you ever buy anything. You should know your title company ahead of time. Who works really well with investors? People screw that up. You understand? They go to somebody and like, well, they just do regular Susie Homemaker homes. They don't understand. Well, there's a cloud on the shit. Well, I don't know what that means. They don't on a title and stuff. So You have to have very experienced people. I want to hire the best. It's sort of like a realtor. It doesn't matter if you're a crappiest realtor. And I know the changes with realtors, but I just like to talk to the old, just people. They get the same 6%. So why would you get the crappy one? Why not get the very best one in that market? It's the best salesperson in the world to sell your property.
My favorite's when they argue and they try to like nickel and dime anybody for, even if it's a fee, agent fee. If it's standard is 3% and they're trying to do it for 2 or 1, you're going to get the service of a 2 or 1. I'm just letting you know that. Pay that guy 4% and let him go fucking sell it.
$20 million deals. And they're worried over $100,000 here. In the minutia of it, as you add more zeros, it's the same thing.
I say that all the time. It's the same goddamn business. People always just think about it in different ways. You can just add more zeros to it. When you start talking to oil investors, they're doing the same goddamn underwriting and deal negotiations and everything. They've just got a lot more zeros on the end of it. So, what's your future look like for your investment? Where do you want to? Do you want to? Do you like single family? Do you want to go commercial? Do you
love
want to build a
multifamily.
hotel? What's right?
See,
what's
that's
your
what
what's
I
your
love
dreams?
Is my box, right? I'm not gonna step outside of it. I see people crash and burn all the time because they decide to do that, and that's stupid. I want to replicate success. I want to do what my dad does. My main goal is to be a motivational speaker. I love real estate. I love what I do, but I know people won't believe me unless I'm credible. So that's why I really want to make my real estate career in probably the next 5-10 years. I want to get apartments. I want to do big apartment deals, syndicate them, and I want to retire my investors. That's my main goal. Rich people are already rich. I want to help the little guys out. I want to, make sure that that little $5,000 that they can put in my deal, I turn that into 15. I mean, think about it. In 1 year, I've done more than they've worked for in the last 5. And I think that's the power of what I do, is because I really want to help people.
People don't. They take their lenders or investors, whatever deal type you're structuring, and they take it for granted. You have to appreciate their money more than it's yours, right? So, like you said, I'm going to make sure that my investors are happier than pig and shit, because without them, I have nothing.
Exactly.
And that goes back to hard money lenders. I see it all the time on Facebook groups, and people are bashing hard money lenders over a deal, and I'm like, I bet you that deal didn't pencil in the beginning. So the fact that you're bringing extra cash to close or whatever, it's not the lender's fault.
No.
I guarantee you there was something wrong.
There are percentages in a box. Every time you go over that 70% or 75% threshold, that's on you, not on them. They can't control that. If you have bigger rehab, that was you didn't do your estimates right.
Are there any quote unquote golden nuggets for anybody out there listening that you want to give away, or anything?
As in information-wise?
Yeah, golden nuggets meaning
Really?
like things
FHA
you
loan.
wish you knew.
If you're young, the FHA loan is the most powerful thing you can do. 3.5% down. If there's anyone young watching, any parents do from the parent perspective, that is the best thing for your kid, because if they can understand, hey, I can live in a fourplex, live in something that makes money, live in something that works for me, having my money work for me too. Live in one, rent the 3 other out, that is the golden key for all young kids.
And that doesn't take long either. You're saying 3 years,
I think it's
right,
minimum
before your
of,
turn
No,
time?
you don't have to 650
like-
credit score?
Yeah, no, you don't have to have 650. They can have the 500s for FHA
Wow.
loans. But
Even better.
it's the fact that you have to live in like 12 months only. It's a very short period of time. But it's the fact you're living in one unit. One of the renters is paying the mortgage, and the other 2 is profit. So not only are you now living for free, you're making $10,000 a year while you're living there. So I always tell young people to come to my seminar. They're like, well, my wife wants to live in a house. No, you don't. You want to buy a nice one in a fourplex in the medical. Well, I can't qualify. Well, yes, actually you can, because the income doesn't affect your debt to income ratio, because you have 2 other renters in there making that extra money that makes your debt to, it's actually, and here's another thing for young people. Do not buy a house to live in. Buy your 10 rentals first, then you're allowed to buy the house. You need to suffer first. I don't believe in entitlement. My point is I have so many people that are very successful lifestyle students that I've taught. I've taught 50,000 people nationwide, teach all across America. I teach out in Hawaii. And it's so cool to see people. What I love is when they come up to me and they go, you know what, David? You ruined my career. That's not the most awesome thing in the world, to know that they never have to work again because they have enough passive income to never work again. That's a cool job.
Yeah, my dad puts people in rehab and ruins their careers.
Yeah, but rehab means something different. That's what we do. Right? Not like him, the guy missing teeth that's on
What are your, so what final thoughts do you have, or points for mentorship, for going a different path, right? Your entire story. So
Right.
What are some final thoughts you want to touch on?
Really, a lot of kids, and this is, it's not their fault. This is what their parents know, their grandparents before them. I mean, the school system, everything in the world, in America and our society, has taught them how to be a worker for someone else. And if all the kids and anyone watching can get out of that mindset and realize from, my story, there's other kids like this. There's an 18-year-old that's my best friend right now. He's a bodybuilder. He's helping his parents right now in their first, house. And that's awesome. It's amazing to see the other 19, 20-year-old kid who's making $400 a month, passive income. If they can get out of the mindset that I have to go to college, I have to work for someone else, I'm stuck and destined to do that for the rest of my life, if they can get out of that, then they're set. The moment they realize that you have that potential and power, that's something I would want them to listen to. If you could have one thing to take away from this, you don't have to be stuck in the same place for the rest of your life.
And I think it's important to touch on while you did do the extreme, right? I always say I burned the ships, right? I went the extreme route when I quit shipping and I went to this. Like, you don't have to do that. While we both did that, while you dropped out of high school and said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to forge my own path one way or another."
Exactly.
You can still get a job being a waiter or something, and the money you get from that, just put it on the side, right?
Yep.
And then by the time, listen, through high school is 4 years. I worked for 4 years during high school. All that money I was paying rent and stuff like that, it's different. But if you can nest egg that away, eventually you can use that for a down payment on something. Even like you're saying, everybody wants to do, all right, how am I going to buy my first flip or anything like that? You don't have to do that, right? Take small bites.
Yes.
Buy something with your own first-time homebuyer FHA loan, and then rent it out. You don't have to sit there and use it as a negative. Actually get somebody else to pay for it. So
Exactly.
those are huge
And
points.
one thing that's powerful, with all the things he's been learning, you got to realize, you take last year what he did, where he started talking about that little 11 unit. I put him in charge of that, even though it's my money. Do you know how much money he made me in 1 year on that one deal? $1 million. But how much of that does he get?
Nothing?
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no. I'm not that mean.
Well, I would 10% of 10%. I don't know.
10% of $1 million is what?
Don't quote me. Tommy!
Wow.
Yep,
100
that much.
grand.
100 grand.
But see, the point is he earned that 100 grand. He did all the work. He did everything. Yeah, I made 900 grand. He makes 100 grand, but now he has enough money to buy what? His first apartment deal by himself. Not with daddy's money, with his own money. See, I didn't entitle him. If I would have gave him money like a lot of parents do, oh, let's buy a house together. They put up all the money. They don't learn from that. You got to make them do everything. If he's too lazy to show up when the renters are there to, lease it out, you see pictures of him when he's younger. They didn't really want to talk to a 12-year-old. They kept talking to the mother, but he was the one doing the work. You know what I mean? That's the point. You show up. If you don't show up, you don't get your money. You understand?
People are more people are more inclined to push their children to a college that they have no.
You have business professors that never owned a business.
And then but they're pushing them into debt. Is my point,
Well,
right
yeah,
there?
yeah.
You have to go
250
do this.
And women's studies, well, that's pretty worthless, right? Elizabethan poetry. Well, I'm going to get a lot of jobs out of that. Hey, how much fries you want with that? I mean, that's realistic.
Some of the dumbest people I know have multiple degrees.
Oh yeah. But it's funny is you fast forward today where I teach all these people how to retire. So now I'm not putting down college. It's a great thing. It got people where they're blessed in life. They save up money. And they have money to invest when they come to my seminar, which is awesome. And I always say, people go, well, how much money does it take realistically to do this? To do what we have, our level, it does take money. You need at least 30 grand. You need enough money to put down. You have to have reserves for the what-ifs in life. I'm just real with people. You come to my seminar, have 30 grand, boom, we can retire you. I'll show you how to do it every step of the way. But if you're not at that point, that's where wholesaling, stuff like that comes. I get it. Other people have different mindset. So you have to have money to do what I do. Might not be right for everyone. But if you like the idea of passive income, you want to learn from somebody that actually does it. There's so much misinformation out there on Bigger Pockets and all these different podcasts of the get rich quick
you
people.
can find it anywhere.
They're a guru, different something every week, and they all act flashy and they have leased cars and they're all fake. I have people taking pictures in front of my Cybertruck, acting like it's theirs. I think it's funny. You know what I mean? Wholesalers do that all the time in front of my stuff. So.
There was actually, when you pulled up, there was a different Cybertruck in a different one, but it was actually clean. And then I was like,
yeah,
that's
mine
not
wasn't
his.
clean.
And you guys pulled up and it was nice and dirty, and then you guys popped the frunk and a bunch of work equipment in there. I was
well, I had to
like,
get
that's
the
perfect. It's a
battery,
work truck. Yeah. When is your next seminar?
Actually, Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday?
This
Where?
weekend, right? 106 Decker Drive in
San Antonio?
Irving.
No, right here.
Oh, okay. In
Right here.
DFW?
Yeah.
All right. God bless.
Yeah. In fact, if you have anybody that's watching that is over 30 grand, have them reach out to me. It's $740 for a seminar. I have a couple tickets I can give away for free.
Okay.
But they have to come this weekend.
How can they get a hold of you? Or give me
I'm
your.
afraid to give my phone number out.
Well, no,
so.
don't do phone number.
How about they reach to you and you reach me?
Yeah.
But seriously, guys, if you don't have 30 grand, I can't give you a free ticket to it. But if you do, because I got to make sure you can buy at least a house. And one of the coolest things I'm going to do in that seminar tomorrow, it's one thing me writing numbers on the board, teach you guys how to do it, break it all down, how I buy properties. But I then go live on the internet every single seminar, and I find something for like 20 grand out of pocket. We'll make 100% return, 40 grand, and people buy it that day in the summer. I mean, that's proof of concept.
My favorite part of that is it's not market specific, right? It's not like, oh, that only happened, that trick only happens during the 2020 wave.
People always sit there and say, you got to time the market. Dude, I bought properties every single year I joined, 2009. I've been buying properties every year, multiple properties every year. So.
One of my favorite interviews that I had, I sat down with Andrew Postel, and his model is very similar, right? You buy them, you hold them long enough, you can sell them off appreciation, buy one, hold it. I think it's 3 to 5 years, and then he doubles it. So we'll buy one, sell it, and then buy two with that one. So every couple of years. And then he was doing it before 2008, and then right after, he had ones that bought just before 2008. Those he had to keep for 7 years, right?
Yeah, okay.
It ends up working out, right? It's the law of averages.
It's very forgiving. That's what I say. 5 ways to make money.
Exactly.
To make up for it, depreciation. Yep.
Do we have any questions out there or anything, comments? I don't think I did.
But no cap comment.
Oh, really quick, Odin. I don't mean put you on the spot. Name one book you read that you think might motivate other people to watch or read or whatever.
Think and Grow Rich. I remember I actually read it every year, actually around my birthday, because I remember when I first read it when I was 15 years old. It was an audiobook, and I remember it was actually teaching me about adding a zero and scaling, and that was something that as a young 15-year-old I realized, holy crap, I have so much more potential that I thought the hands of a 15-year-old could do. And I think that's the power of it, right? It's because it lets you know you have power. And that's when I was super motivated. I started talking to my dad. I was like, I have all these great ideas, and I really want to get into this too. So me as a 15-year-old, Think and Grow Rich was great for me.
You read that when you were 15?
Yes.
God bless.
But here's
I
another
was
one.
reading Harry Potter.
No, hey, I still read it.
No, I know.
Because you gave a quote from a book that I think is very powerful, and I think everybody should.
The Add a Zero?
No. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy.
Yes.
So if you're too cheap to buy books, it's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. Listen to that while you're driving around.
I also like Libby. It's like Audible, but
Libby's on the table.
Well, it attaches to the local libraries. So as long as you have a library card, you can download Audible books and stuff like that. So when you rent out, yeah.
Listen to him.
So guys, I really appreciate you coming in.
And guys, you can friend me on Facebook. It's run by a communist, so you can only have 5,000 friends. Just follow me. When you search in the little hourglass, search David Fisher. No C, I can't afford to see. David Fisher. And then afterward, write lifestyles, and you'll see a picture of me going like that. Just follow me there. And if you want, private message me, ask me a question or something like that.
What about your socials?
Odin Fisher, OdinFisher. Facebook. I'm with old people, all right? I'm on there.
Do you play Xbox, computer, or PlayStation?
PC. I love Steam games. Look, PC is the best.
I almost finished it for you. I was like, wait a second, what? Yes. I offered my kid turned 10, and I was like, 10-year-old, it's a big birthday. You want me to? We'll build your first gaming PC. No. DX for a PS5.
Wow.
So what? You wanted me to buy you a new computer.
We were going to buy a new one, but I have an Alienware, like Aurora R10 Ryzen Edition. I realized the damn thing's actually good as is.
Even though it's 3 years old. So.
Yes, but my graphics card was horrible, so I got a 4060 Ti. I have a 2 terabyte SSD, and I bought like 232 gig sticks around.
We use Macs for the actual work. And Macs are amazing for just work and real estate and everything like that. But mine is old as shit, and you can't update it at all. And I need to so badly. That thing is like a giant personal heater. It blows up. But guys, I really appreciate you coming. I won't take up more of your time. If there's anything I can do or anything you guys want to plug, let me know. But if not, guys, this weekend, if anybody is interested, reach out to David or me. All right, he's putting on a workshop this weekend. Lifestyles Unlimited. If you guys don't know who Lifestyles Unlimited is because you're living underneath the goddamn rock, check them out. They are the #1 mentor group in the country for real estate investing. I'm not shitting you. Single family and multifamily. If you have any ambition of getting into real estate and you want somebody to show you the actual path, reach out to David. If he can do it with his own son, I guarantee you he can do it with you. So thank you for following along. If anybody needs anything, hit us up. Keep crushing it, and peace.
And you can hear 16 hours of me this weekend if you want to come out there.
That's a lot.
16 hours of the fat man.
There.
What a way to end it.